Hello and aloha to all the people of the world. The Baha'i greeting. Time is 12 o'clock and today is the 8th of August. I'm going to be talking a bit about China. After all, 1.2 billion, quarter of the population of the world is there. The first thing that always comes with China is the huge population right away. For me, the population immediately brings up, in my opinion, in my frame of thought, the Chinese government is one of the most efficient government in the planet at the moment, considering the 1.2 billion populations, and relatively compared to India or other places, they are still not starving. Are not well off by any definition, but they're not as bad. Imagine that if this was the population of the United States or any country in the world, then you would have imagined those countries would topple immediately under such responsibility. This is what I mean by efficiency of this government. So of course, something about the Chinese that long time ago, they were all attracted to the message of Buddha, although he was not from China, he was from India, historically. But this message of balance was very attractive to the people of China and the areas. And this is one of the backbone of Chinese behavior and Chinese attitude. The underlying philosophy that runs the China is the principles of being content and discipline. Discipline and contentment is the key, is the winner. If you're content with little, or what you have, what you could have, and you're disciplined about your life and about things, you will win. They will take over the world with just these two principles. Indian in India are content, but they have more humility. This humility is lacking in Chinese system. It's irrelevant to them. China, of course, starts, this going away, from the traditional Chinese long time ago. And finally, everything was materialized by Mao Zedong, the Chairman Mao, who was a theoretician in Marxism, but he just adapted to a different version of it that would suit the society in China. One of his chief principles of ideology that is very attractive is that he sees the whole China as one being. And you have to serve this whole organic being. Just I brought this message before, a cell of a body is not the entire body, cannot claim to be the entire body. So as one man cannot claim to be the whole society. Society as a whole is it could be an organic being for itself. China is. I think Mao understood this very well. This is why he says that you have to serve your master, which is people, which is the society as the whole, and then you can lead it. So this is a very, very important issue, because the principles of egotistics, principles of arrogance, of selfishness, dies in this system, because you are part of the whole, and that is what all the books of gods are saying, including Baha'u'llah. So your individualism should exist, but it serves the higher purpose, which is the society itself. Such governments are becoming very efficient. If they are around in the world, there isn't anything except Japan, I suppose. China can do a miracle with having such an organized system. There's no particular army. The whole country as a whole is the army. It's almost a self-defense of itself. So it is one of the best government. Bothering Chinese government over the superficial things that the Western societies, they like to attack them, is futile. Imagine these populations are under a system. If this system breaks, God knows how many millions they could starve in one day, because the system doesn't exist. At least there's a system. It's very important. So we can see that China, and represented by Chairman Mao, he knows very well how to adapt to the system if you're coming from outside of China, in this case Marxism, but also intelligent enough to see which part is not suitable for him and how he should change it around to work it. The present government, Deng Xiaoping, I think it was right after Mao, had continued this, the idea of Mao, but it started to change things around gradually. So they are entering to the world economy, and because of this power of Mao and the system that exists right now, they actually got themselves not only a seat in the United Nations, but a veto power. This is very, very big achievement. India is just as big, but does not have this position. There are other countries they don't. But China made it possible to happen. Right now, of course, their economy is going to take over. The economy in the West already has taken over, but people don't know about it. Their system is creating an individualism that is much sane, does not go through a freedom of the West to become excessive user of drug, substance abuse, a lot of things that unfortunately democracy brings about. They're lacking in China, and might as well be, because the population is so big that, as I said, a slightest movement that can just bring everything down. So, in my opinion, China has to be respected a lot because of who they are and how many population that they have. They've come down here and they're adapting themselves so very great, even in the countries like Canada, United States, and the rest of the world. They're always very successful because these principles, as their lessons of Buddha brought them the balance, and they've translated it into discipline. What's lacking right now in the world, with discipline and to be content, you will win. These are the two things. It's very hard to create principles in the life of Western people right now. About population, there are a lot of population, lots and lots and lots of population, let's say in a room. Automatically people becoming polite because Otherwise, chaos will happen. They get boxed in, human being. They are very geometrical, they're very well defined, their behavior, their attitude, their humbleness, and everything that is required to exist in a whole. So I commend China in creating a system where the individuals, member of the country, together they have created an organic being called China as a whole. Very powerful. Such power doesn't exist, as I said. It might be a little bit in Japan, could be rivaling, but not nearly enough. But by the same token, they're entering in a different era, which is, the Western freedom, a bit of capitalism, and so on and so forth. These changes are going to create a problem in the long run for the Chinese man, for the Chinese individuals, for the people. To talk to people in China, I should use a scientific language, as I am myself a scientific philosopher. I'd have to go back to Karl Marx and the theory of dialectics of the world. First of all, we have to define to see as religion has a role in society. And is this a superficial things or it's a fundamental issues? In my opinion, as Karl Marx explains, the base for all the changes are economy. And the formula of revolution says that essentially if the laws governing the economy is not matching those who are working, automatically a revolution will happen. Now I've extended this to say that it's not economy, it's the essential needs of mankind can be the basis for the revolution. These are economical basis. They could be social basis, as in a fundamental country like Saudi Arabia, where money is absolutely abundant and the economy is very well. But the social freedom is not there. That is essential need of mankind. Revolution in such countries is not because of the lack of money. And as well the spiritual values, the questions that man has, those relationships that are the protocols to bringing up and making of the families. If they're missing, those are the essential needs just as well, and cause create revolutions. You've seen the example of which recently in Norway, the young man has no problem with the economy or social value, he's not even crazy. Is that there are answers in his head that he's looking, question that he looks to find an answer and he can't find it, causing revolution. He's won, but it's good enough for scientists to see that how it's working. The mechanism is there. Going back to these dialectics and definitions of what's the reality of this universe, Karl Marx skillfully explains that for something to exist, it has to occupy an empty space, it has to be in time, and it has to be moving. I discovered the consequence of accepting anything in the state of motion and time. It would have to be a combination of some sort. One thing, merely one thing, literally one thing that cannot be divided, one thing that is not divisible, in other words, the pure matter, automatically is not in time and motion. Because motion requires at least anything to be made out of two things. Something must have been broken into two, a motion with the measuring of time. Therefore, whenever we look at ourselves, automatically we always ask the universe at any point, at any which point you imagine it, it will have to be coming from 2 points that cause that to happen, which are the thesis and antithesis to creating that synthesis. But if the universe in the beginning is pure, it's either thesis or antithesis, and that cannot be synthesizing the universe. Therefore, I added to the 3 statement of Marx about the matter the statement of combination composition. That means matter is always composed. There is no matter that is not composed of something. If the matter is composed, then it is at least made out of 2 things. 2 things cannot be the beginning of universe. It could be the beginning of motion and time, but it cannot be the beginning of universe, because universe cannot start from 2 things. If it is one thing, then it is pure, and if it is pure, then such things does not need to be in time and motion, and this is the irony of the matter. Therefore, we have to say, outside of the matter, independent from the matter, not caused by the matter, there must be something else, which by the definition is not a thing. I call it no thing, literally nothing. That these 2 of their interactions, one matter, one non-matter, to create the first time and motion. So this metaphysic independence from the physics in my dialectic does not give the license to metaphysics to be the creator of things. At the Baha'i faith, we say everything essentially exists. It does not need to be created by something. It's already there. In that sense, that matter and non-matter, I say they are like blue and yellow color that in mix they create green, which is this world of existence where time and matter can be sensed and measured. Outside of these 2, the imagination can go to find out where the green comes from, which takes us to the blue and yellow representing the matter and time, the matter and non-matter. So physics and metaphysics interacting and creating the time and matter. These 2 cannot even be the beginning. They must have come from something else, somewhere else, which the war, where and end, and everything ends there. All we know, there's a question mark beyond these 2 that they have to be attributed to 1 point. But that 1 point, we cannot ask where it comes from, because all the where and the how and everything ends to this matter or non-matter. That is in a stage yet beyond, completely outside of the imaginations. That we call God. Such God does not have a lot of things to do with us in our life, except that animating from Him all the physics and metaphysics in combination is the green. Okay? So these 2 are the main ingredients of a universe that scientifically makes out of matter and non-matter. I've explained these things fully from the videos number 3 right to number 21. All the philosophy and philosophical point that goes with it. In this case, we have to create a society that represents this matter and non-matter all the time. Everything in the world is made out of matter and non-matter. Even a glass of coffee cup, you can see the presence of non-matter in it in the form of idea, the person who made it. That would be the non-matter part of the matter. In combination, they made a cup that we drink coffee from. So, the society gathered properly together, it definitely needs creativity, which is higher and bigger metaphysical values.